Hi, it's me, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. Are you guys sick of live streams today? It has been the day of live streams and live stream attempts. It was supposed to be a day of up to, 4 potential spaceflight events today. This morning was supposed to be a Starlink mission out on the Cape. That got scrubbed. Then all day, kind of SpaceX was working on trying to do their hop of their serial number 6 Starship prototype vehicle. Now we're seeing SAOCOM-1B, which is a really exciting mission, actually. I'll tell you guys about it in a second, of course. And then tonight, just after this, in about 4 hours from right now, I'll be streaming again for Rocket Lab. So if you're still feel like you need more spaceflight in your life, I have got you guys covered. We will have plenty to talk about and plenty to see. And the Rocket Lab launch tonight is exciting because it is the return to flight for them after they had their first in-flight, operational flight failure when the second stage had a connection kind of get all wonky. So I'm really excited for them to return to flight because they're a really fun company to watch launch, and they're getting really close to recovering their first stage booster, which they have a really wily coyote solution for by catching the booster with a helicopter. I do have a video all about that if you guys need to know how Rocket Lab is going to catch their booster with a helicopter, why SpaceX doesn't catch their fairings with a helicopter, and why SpaceX doesn't use parachute recovery for their boosters. I have a really in-depth video about it. Just search here. Search on YouTube parachute or Rocket Lab helicopter. It'll probably show up pretty quickly why Rocket Lab's going to do that. So first things first, let's go ahead and I'll give you guys a rundown on what we're going to be experiencing here in about 31 minutes and 37 seconds. Thanks to the beauty of live stream stuff. All right, so check this out. So this is SAOCOM-1B. So anytime you guys need information about upcoming rocket launches, if you're like, which still happens to me every day on Twitter, someone's, hey, what's launching? Where's it going? Are they landing the booster? What company is this? Blah, 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 blah. We have you covered here at everydayastronaut.com. All you have to do is click on the pre-launch preview button here and you'll get access to these articles. And so here's the deal. This will be taking off at 23:19 UTC, which is about 7:19 Eastern local time for the launch, which again is in about exactly 30 minutes from right now. The name of this, and by the way, I do also have the launch audio up in the background, which I will remember to mute this time. But so we'll get updates. They have started fueling. So they are still going for it, even though they're looking at weather. Right now, weather is a constraint. And if they were to have to launch right now, it would actually probably be in violation. But they're saying it's progressing, looking better. So hopefully this lines up just in time to be able to do the mission that they need to do and still have a clear window of weather there. So the name of this mission is SAOCOM-1B, which is an Earth observation satellite for Argentina's space agency, and also Sequoia smallsat rideshare as well. The launch provider today, this is a SpaceX mission. The customer is CONE, the National Space Activities Commission, Planet EQ, and Capella Space. The rocket, this is, of course, a Falcon 9 Block 5. That's the only thing we're going to be seeing fly these days, besides, of course, a Falcon Heavy. This particular booster is booster 1059.4. Here, I'll highlight it so you guys know what I'm talking about. 1059.4. That .4 means this is the 4th flight of this particular booster. So, of course, SpaceX is famously reusing boosters, which we'll talk about here more in a second. Launch location. This is taking off from Space Launch Complex 40 or Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. Of course, I say this every time. Sorry, you guys are probably sick of hearing this, especially as we're doing this all the time now. Space Launch Complex, or SLC, means it's at Cape Canaveral. If it was just LC, like LC-39A or LC-39B, that is Launch Complex. That actually means it's at Kennedy Space Center, which, although both of them are literally next door to each other, it's kind of arbitrary, the distinction. But it's a fun distinction to know because that way you know whether or not it's considered the Air Force / Space Force Station or whether it's on NASA's Kennedy Space Center ground. Payload mass for this is around 3,000 kilograms. Which is about 6,600 pounds. These satellites are going into low Earth sun synchronous orbit, which is really similar to a polar orbit. It's actually slightly retrograde, just a little bit. So polar orbit would be 90 degrees going straight over the north and south poles. This is actually slightly beyond that. So it actually has to go slightly beyond polar orbit. And it's this whole weird thing about orbital precessions and the right angle to the ascension that keeps it constantly facing the sun because the planet's a little bit fatter around the equator. So it constantly, I don't know. The people that figured this stuff out, this is one of those things that like I've read 100 times. I'm still like, yes. I just have no idea. So yeah, so it is cool. What it means is that it can be constantly in what, like it'll be the same lighting condition every time. It's just following. It stays kind of relative to the sun. So yeah, you can think of it as like if the sun was hitting the Earth like this, the orbit would constantly be like this, just outside. So it'd have the same, amount of sun every day. So yeah, I don't know. Will they be attempting to recover the first stage? Yes, they will. This is a fun one because they will be attempting to land the first stage back at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. So really close. The craziest thing is, to me, they're going to be landing this really close to the $1 billion rocket and satellite, the Falcon or the Delta IV Heavy that's sitting down there at Launch Complex 37 or 36, 37, 37. Yeah, 36 is Blue Origin's. At Launch Complex 37, is it A or B or C, something like that. The craziest thing is, yeah, this is landing really close to $1 billion national reconnaissance mission, classified payload sitting out on the pad. So not only is it going to be launching with it out there, which I don't know, that's not that risky really, but landing, even though it's still, they have it figured out. It's just, I'm surprised that they got clearance to be able to do that. So this will be really fun because it's going to be landing back at land, which when's the last time we've had a return to launch site? Because man, it feels like it's been at least 6 months. It's got to be, it's not that close. It's still CRS 20 in March. Thank you, Trevor. Boom. It's not that close. You're right. It's not like we're 2 kilometers away, but it is probably within 5 kilometers. Like, it's pretty relatively close. Let's see here. Falcon Heavy, of course, did land on land. There's 2 side boosters land on land for most Falcon Heavy missions that we're going to see in the near future. So yeah, that'll be landing on land. That's really fun. Will they be attempting to recover the fairings? Yes, they actually have. Miss Go Mischief has been dispatched recovering both fairing halves. So they'll hopefully try to catch one and recover the other. So and these are new fairings. They have not been used yet. This will be the first polar launch from the East Coast since 1969. Fun fact. So it's been a long time because you do have to do a dogleg maneuver. You have to go east a little bit over Florida and go far enough out that when you're going south, you don't end up going directly over any other populated areas like Cuba. This will be the first commercial launch on the 4th flight of a booster. I didn't realize that. Good job, web crew. You guys are awesome. 92nd flight of Falcon 9. We're coming up on 100, baby. 100th. I think is that how you, 100th? I think it's supposed to be 100th SpaceX launch, 41st reflight of a booster. I had a second guess myself. 100th. And the 14th mission for SpaceX in 2020. And of course, we do have our graphic here from Jeff Barrett that will help you also understand all this in a nice, simple, easy way. So yeah, there's the little SAOCOM-1B looking satellite. Pretty fun. Yep, pretty great. And there's, yeah. So if you guys if you need to know more about this stuff, we've got you covered here. Just go to everydayastronaut.com, click on pre-launch previews, and you can get a rundown on everything happening in this mission. We have got you covered. And this article is written by Trevor. Trevor, thank you so much. You are awesome. Everyone say thank you to Trevor for helping with the article. All right. So let's see. Okay. So we've got some, I missed, there's a whole bunch of new members. So David, thank you. Last night, looks like early gang. We had Rob Hawk, Michael, Tim Rice, 01 AK 345, Bill Trimble, Brandon S, Samantha Fields, Ben Robbins, Max Headroom, all new members. Andrew P says don't use Mac for streams. Sorry. Happy Hacking Video Blog. Break F9 break a leg. Hopefully not, because breaking a leg in the rocket world would not be good. And then we go into Wily Coyote. Thank you so much for your tip. Yeah, how is everybody? We have had just a crazy busy day full of what was not ended up being, the rocket launches that we were expecting. So at Lee, unfortunately, we might see 2 launches today. So again, in about 4 hours, tune in. I will be covering Rocket Lab's return to flight with their Electron. So if this goes well, which they are going into fuel up, then it does mean that, we actually could see 2 launches today still, down from the 4 that we were all hoping for. If you count yeah, if you count whatchamacallit, if you count Starhopper or Starship as a full-blown launch. But yeah. This is from Craig, says, I was excited to hear you over at NASA Spaceflight this afternoon. What an incredible community of collaboration and support for all of us space fans. Yes. I mean, how can you not absolutely love the hard work that goes on over there at NASA Spaceflight? I mean, they are such a dedicated team of people. I'm a big fan. I hope all of you guys are big fans. I know you guys probably are. They don't need any introduction in this world. The NASA Spaceflight crew is awesome. So I had a lot of fun talking with them. They're good friends of mine. You know, whenever I see them in person, pre-COVID at least, it was always fun to hang out and catch up and just talk rockets. just get nerdy. Good people. All right, Wiley Cody. Yes, I came up with a wild plan to catch the Electron first stage. This time I left out all the anvils. Wow, it's come full circle. The Wild Lee Coyote is here, my friends. Wow. Oh, there we go. I think we finally have the actual mission. I will pull this up and get this ready here, because they did not actually post anything but the other stream until just a second ago, apparently. Here, it might just be easier to try and pull this up on their YouTube page. Give me 1 second here, guys. Why am I not seeing it? Besides pulling this up, is that... I know, Discord's going to be like, this is a link. Oh, great, I just borked Discord now. Can someone just post I don't know why I can't copy the hyperlink. Here, I'll do this. Wow, I am Mr. Internet today. Mr. Internet. Let me see what this is. Let's see if this is actually... Yay, it is the actual mission. Okay, so they'll be going live in about 10-ish minutes. So meanwhile, I will keep answering your guys' questions. Let's see here. Mike, thank you for the membership. You are awesome. From Brian Clausen, I have my fingers crossed that the weather holds. Yes, either way, love what you do, and I will be watching Rocket Lab. Also, well, Brian, thank you for always tuning in. You've been around for a long time. I really appreciate your generous support. And hopefully we'll see 2 launches today. That would just be awesome. That would help free up this week for me, because Andrew and I will be, let's see, it is 3.2 miles, so 5 kilometers away. Sorry, everyone, from where they're going to be landing to where the Delta IV Heavy actually is too. So that's like I said, that's pretty close, relatively close. But yeah, I'm glad that they have enough confidence that they can land it safely and everything. So thank you, Joe Bob and Discord. You're awesome. But yeah, I'm really excited. I really hope Rocket Lab takes off tonight. Like I said, Andrew, my my new producer / editor, who's behind the scenes of a lot of the stuff now. We're working really hard on finishing up our script the script's done. It's shot. We're in the middle of editing. We posted our dialogue cut earlier this weekend for Apollo versus Artemis. So, of course, Artemis program is NASA's new plans to get humans back to the moon using the SLS rocket, the Orion, and the human landing systems, which does include Starship in it, which is crazy. It also includes 2 other landers. So we're going to compare those 2 programs. Is Artemis actually an improvement over Apollo program? How, the cost, how much does it cost? Because we all know SLS is really expensive. How much is it going to, what's the time on the moon? How do you get to the moon with these 2 missions? It's going to be very different, and I will break it all the way down for you guys. And it's a really in-depth, it's like an hour-long video. So I know you guys, some of you love that, some of you don't love that, but the good things about long videos is hopefully you don't end up with more questions than when you started. The idea is to really be able to dive in deep for you guys. And you can always come back. We break them up into sections, so you can always just do a couple sections at a time if it's too long. Totally understandable. I get it. But yeah, we just want to do that for you guys so that you can have all of the resources you need. And I'm really, really excited for that video. I think it's going to be awesome. And then after that, soon, we're going to do a video about Russian rocket engines. And then soon after that, we'll hopefully do part 3, which is what could replace SLS to get humans to the moon by 2024. So yeah. All right. Oh, Discord. I love you guys. Starship did not hop Space Guy tie, so you did not miss it. The first time, we don't really know why they scrubbed for sure. It was really windy. The second time, it looked like they were really pushing into getting ready to fly, and they scrubbed because it was crazy windy. There was like 30 mile an hour, 50 kilometer an hour wind gusts. It was pretty nuts. Pretty nuts, not nights. Pretty nuts. This is from Wolf saying, go SAOCOM, go Kone. Greetings from Argentina. Love watching your streams. That's awesome. Fuera el burso. I'm not entirely sure what that means. Hopefully I didn't say something very insulting to anyone that speaks Spanish. I think it's not anything bad, but thank you for saying hi, and congrats Argentina on this awesome mission coming up. Thank you very much from Tech and Things. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys watching the videos. That stuff always makes my day. Like I said, we definitely like to really go deep on videos, and you're welcome, Justin. Thank you for saying hi. You know, we really like to go in depth around here. I found myself personally always scratching my head, looking for, I guess pretty much looking for more answers to questions. You know, like I always wanted to get more in depth with stuff, and it seemed like a lot of the stuff that I was watching just wasn't giving me I was craving more. You know, I just wanted more information. You know, like when I watch a documentary, I don't want to be like, but wait, you know, if I'm watching like I don't know, a lot of stuff would do that for me. And so my goal around here is just to make sure we answer as many questions as we can. And I think that's fun. I think the learning aspect of it is super fun. So yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Cohen, for your opinions. I do look into this for a job. I'm not even going to put your thing up on the screen, but yeah, I do it as a career. I am fully aware of literally everything we've ever done. We'll get 2 launches in one day with Starship. That could be true eventually. Of course, there's a lot of ambitious ideas and goals for Starship. One of them is quick, rapid turnarounds, and that would be nuts. You know, if we get to the point where it is constantly just, we're talking potentially once every like 90 minutes even is one of the goals. Ooh, we have SpaceX audio getting ready to come to us live. So I'll go ahead and go like this. I'll put them up here. And I'll go full screen for you guys. And there we go. All right, we're getting closer. I feel like it should be over here. I feel like I'm off there. Hi, guys. Slightly different place. I feel very out of place just being 4 inches over. From Greg, did Elon ever lean over and whisper in your ear, lose the suit? Is that what happened? Thanks for all you do. Greg, no. I ditched the suit before I ever interacted with Elon, basically. For those of you that don't know, there's probably a good handful of you, because the last time I wore the spacesuit in a video was like 2 years ago. And so 2 years ago, I don't even think I had, let's see, I would have maybe had like 150,000 subscribers or something. So there's 5 times more of you out there right now. There's a good chance that some of you haven't even seen some of the older videos. Yeah, I used to wear a Russian high-altitude flight suit around for every video. It was a carryover from the whole reason Everyday Astronaut even started and existed is because it all started off as an art project, as a photography project. I used to be a professional photographer full-time, and I just wanted to make like cool, surreal pictures, you know, that were like this juxtaposition of an astronaut like kind of stuck on, you know, just kind of interpreting your own story. So if you look back on Instagram, if you go on Everyday Astronaut on Instagram, look back, you'll see some of the old photos. It was a really fun storyline. There's also a video here on YouTube called How a Spacesuit Almost Killed Me that kind of goes through some of the Easter eggs that I used to hide in all the photos. It was a lot of fun. But as I transitioned out of that and into YouTube, I kept the character because I thought the character was kind of part of it, you know, part of the shtick. But yeah, come to find out, I ditched it, and I think it's for the better because I felt more at home. I felt a lot more physically comfortable. But also, I think there's people that were watching it like, why would I listen to a guy in a spacesuit, you know, in pajamas in his living room is stuff I heard all the time. And I don't think the inverse is true. I don't think anyone's clicked on a new video of mine and be like, I'm not listening to this guy. He's not wearing a Russian high-altitude flight suit. So, all right, everybody, here we go. It is stream time, baby.
Sunday, August 30th, and we're here at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. You're looking at a live view of the Falcon 9 rocket as it awaits its 7:18 p.m. Eastern Time launch from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. My name is Michael Andrews, and I'm a supply chain supervisor here at SpaceX. For tonight's mission, we'll be placing the SAOCOM-1B Earth observation satellite into a low Earth sun-synchronous orbit for the National Commission of Space Activities of Argentina, known as CONAI. Now, it's the second and final satellite of our SAOCOM constellation. If you recall, SpaceX launched the first satellite, SAOCOM-1A, back in October 2018 from Vandenberg Air Force Base in Florida. The satellite's main goal is to gather soil moisture information. The data provided by SAOCOM helps increase productivity and competitiveness of sectors like agriculture by generating, for example, risk maps that can help control crop diseases, by implementing efficient fertilizer systems, and for early flood warnings. The two SAOCOM satellites will work in partnership with Italy's Cosmo SkyMed constellation. All the satellites will work together to provide Earth imaging. Each SAOCOM satellite can acquire about 225 images every day. We also have two smaller rideshare satellites on board, Tyvac 0172 and the GNOMES-1 smallsat for Planet IQ. Now, Planet IQ designs, builds, launches, and operates one of the most advanced constellations of radio occultation weather forecasting satellites. Radio occultation is a technology that measures and analyzes the signals generated by GPS satellites to determine weather data, such as pressure, temperature, and water vapor. This data is used in weather forecast models to greatly improve the accuracy and extend the range of those weather predictions. Now, tonight's launch is an especially exciting one. It's SpaceX's first polar orbit from the East Coast. A polar orbit is one in which satellites pass above the North and South poles as opposed to the equator. This is the first polar trajectory since the late 1960s flown out of Cape Canaveral. SpaceX worked closely with the Air Force and the FAA to create a trajectory that meets the necessary safety requirements for flight. Falcon 9's autonomous flight termination system, its exceptional reliability, and its improved performance over heritage launch vehicles is a key factor in why SpaceX is able to meet the unique performance and safety challenges of launching this polar mission safely from the Cape while still delivering the payload to its desired orbit. Due to the flight path tonight, people along the eastern coast of Florida, including Miami, may be able to see Falcon 9 as it launches to space, as well as our second stage burn following stage separation, and maybe even the first stage boostback burn as it makes its way back to Earth for landing. And because of the time of the day of launch, about 30 minutes before sunset, we might get nice illuminations of the contrails if clouds aren't in the way. Now let's take a look at Falcon 9 out on the pad at the Cape.
Good evening. My name is Andy Tran, and I'm a production supervisor here at SpaceX. We're looking at a live view of Falcon 9, our 70-meter, two-stage liquid-fueled launch vehicle as it sits at Cape Canaveral. The bottom two-thirds of the vehicle is the first stage. Its objective is to accelerate the vehicle through the Earth's atmosphere and then separate from the rest of the rocket. For today's mission, it's going to be the fourth flight for this particular first stage booster. It previously supported two cargo resupply missions, CRS 19 and 20, as well as our 9th Starlink launch in June of this year. Like its previous missions, we are going to be attempting to recover this booster, but this time back at land on Landing Zone 1. Now, after the first stage separates, the second stage will then carry the SAOCOM-1B and our two rideshare satellites to a sun-synchronous orbit. Sun-synchronous orbits travel over the Earth's poles as the planet rotates underneath, with the satellite passing over a particular section of the Earth at the same time each day. This type of orbit also provides a constant amount of sunlight, making them especially good for imaging satellites like the ones we have on board tonight. At the top of the rocket, you'll notice a large nose cone. This is called the satellite fairing. It's a composite structure and protects the rocket from the forces of ascent and also houses our payloads. Once the vehicle is outside of the Earth's atmosphere, the fairing will separate to expose the satellites into space. For tonight's mission, both fairing halves are brand new. We only have one recovery ship supporting today's mission, Miss Chief, you can see on screen right now. So we won't be able to attempt to catch these fairing halves, but rather try to scoop them out of the water once they land. The other recovery vessel, Miss Tree, was positioned to support today's Starlink mission, which has now been rescheduled for later on this week. And finally, the large truss structure next to Falcon 9 is called the Transporter Erector, or TE. The TE's job is to roll Falcon 9 out to the launch pad, raise it to a vertical launch position, and also route power, fluids, and communication to the rocket and satellite.
Falcon 9 rolled out to the pad with the payload on Friday evening and went vertical yesterday at 2 p.m. Eastern Local Time. The SpaceX chief engineer held a technical poll at T-minus 1 hour, and our launch director held a propellant load and launch go, no-go poll at T-minus 38 minutes. If we do have to call a hold on today's launch for any reason, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow, same time, pending range acceptance. In terms of fuel, Falcon 9 began loading propellants at T-minus 35 minutes, and that process is still currently underway. Falcon 9 uses a refined form of kerosene called RP1, Rocket Propellant 1, for its fuel, and super chilled liquid oxygen, known as LOX, for the oxidizer. Currently, RP1 is nearly fully loaded on the first stage, about 36,000 gallons, and the second stage is fully fueled at about 9,600 gallons. Liquid oxygen, though, it's still loading on both stages. In terms of helium, we've also begun to load helium into Falcon 9. The vehicle uses helium gas as a pressurant and helps push the RP-1 and locks through the Merlin engines. Think of like your car, gravity keeps all the fuel at the bottom. We don't have that luxury in zero gravity, so the helium pushes that fuel to our engine's turbopumps. And then at T-minus 7 minutes, our engine chill process will begin. This is where we allow a small amount of the super chilled LOX to flow into the Merlin engine's turbopumps prior to the full flow of LOX into the vehicle. This helps us avoid any kind of thermal shocks to the system. That LOX is negative 338 degrees Fahrenheit after all. Finally, the transporter erector will retract away from the rocket slightly at around T-minus 4.5 minutes, and this provides enough clearance for Falcon 9 to lift off. The vehicle is healthy, and we, the folks in Mission Control, are currently working no issues on the rocket. In terms of the payload, at T-minus 15 minutes, the SAOCOM-1B satellite finished transitioning from external to internal power. Our two rideshare small sats were already on internal power before the countdown began. It's been a busy weekend at the Cape with a lot of launch opportunities, but the range is approving us and accepting this launch attempt. But weather, let's talk about weather. We know that it did postpone our Starlink launch earlier today, and it does have a real chance of doing that again for this mission. There are a lot of storm cells being generated in central Florida, and they're heading east towards the Cape. We're still monitoring that situation, and we probably will down to the last minute. But barring weather, all systems continue to be go for a liftoff at 7:18 p.m. Eastern Time.
Tonight's launch is of the SAOCOM-1B satellite for our customer CONAI, the government of Argentina's National Civilian Space Agency. SAOCOM-1B is part of a two-satellite system that will use a radar technology known as synthetic aperture radar, or SAR, to monitor the Earth. As we mentioned earlier in the webcast, SpaceX launched the first of these satellites, SAOCOM-1A, in the fall of 2018. With the launch coming up in just about T-minus 6 minutes and 30 seconds, let's take a closer look at the capabilities of the SAOCOM-1B satellite.
So sometimes these end up giving us copyright strikes. So I'll answer a few more of you guys' questions here real quick. One of the ones that I'm seeing often is why sun synchronous orbit? What is the sun synchronous orbit? The cool thing about sun synchronous orbit is the sun is in the same place every time that satellite passes over the Earth. So it stays relative. So that means the shadows will always be the same. It really helps when you're trying to, look at crops or look at, a building or something like that. It'll just always be, the sun will always be in the same place. It doesn't, it goes over the same spot once a day or multiple times, every orbit basically, while the sun is illuminated in the exact same way. So that is a really good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing for imaging satellites. And this is from Torstein says, I heard you want to go to Mars. This will help you get closer to your goal. I hope that's a joke because I think most of you know that don't make me go to Mars. Don't make me go to Mars. Jeez. Oh, that's funny though. And this is a comment that I had on Twitter. I had a really someone just berating our attempts at live streaming today. We were trying really hard. We have about 3 backup systems and we were on our 3rd and it's not the greatest idea. But yeah, we had some hard times, but thank you very much, David. That's extremely nice. You don't have to be that generous about that, but thank you. I really appreciate that. Hello from CERN. Awesome. That is very cool. Fingers crossed that no scrubbing will be needed anymore. Please, P.S. Thank you for feeding my space addiction with great content. You're welcome. Thank you for tuning in and thanks for hanging out. This is from James. When's your lawn bowling video? Keep up the great work, love your videos. That's also in reference to the tweet from earlier. Oh man, thank you, James. Space Guy Ty says, love the long videos. Can't wait for Artemis versus Apollo. It will be, I promise you, this is one of those that I learned a ton. And whenever that's the case for me, I'm not saying that I'm an expert. I don't know everything. But when I have where I'm just almost brain overload from all the stuff that I had to learn in order to make this video, that to me is when I know it's going to be a good video and going to be one that I think I thought I knew a lot about Apollo versus Artemis before I shot the video. Now that I've shot the video, I realize I knew almost nothing, which means that there's hopefully a lot to learn for all of us. I hope everyone has something they can take away from it. So, yeah. Thank you very much, Nico. I am really excited for this launch. It looks like it hopefully goes off today. We really need to get a launch out here. It's been scrub city lately. Just absolute scrub town with all the launches lately being scrubbed. So, yeah. Hopefully we'll see. All right. Let's see if...
All right, we're currently less than 4 minutes from liftoff. Falcon 9 is now moving into the final stages of the countdown. The vehicle remains in good health, but the weather is actually now go. The status has changed last minute. In terms of fuel, the first and second stages are now fully fueled with RP1. LOX loading will continue for the next few minutes. And also one thing you'll hear 1 minute before liftoff, you'll hear the announcement that Falcon 9 is in startup mode. This means that the rocket's own internal computers are now autonomously controlling the launch countdown. The SAOCOM-1B payload continues to be healthy. The Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket. Weather has just recently opened up and is looking good, and the range is green for launch. As a reminder, if we don't launch today, we do have that backup opportunity tomorrow, pending range acceptance at 7:19 p.m. Eastern local time. And with just under 3 minutes to go before launch, let's listen in to the final countdown prior to liftoff.
All right. So we are T-minus about less than 3 minutes. I'll go quiet about T-minus 30 seconds, but I think we do need to do something right now. And this is a decent opportunity to look at right there. That's the shot I need. I can confirm now that the pointy end is up, the flamey end is down. That is a very important thing to note when you're about to launch your rocket into space. But the other thing that I love talking about here is those clouds. Everyone always still asks about why are there those clouds, or why is that smoke pouring off the rocket?
9 Merlin engines in the first stage are chilled. They're ready for flight. The LOX loading will complete on that second stage in just a few seconds. Once that occurs, you'll start seeing more of this white clouds venting.
So yeah, so the white clouds, that is from liquid oxygen. Liquid oxygen is extremely cold. SpaceX actually chills it beyond freezing, almost to becoming a solid. I believe it's like minus 207 degrees Celsius. And when you do that, liquid oxygen, to take oxygen as the gas like we know it, to compress it down into a liquid, you have to chill it down a lot. It's extremely cold. So what you have to do, and in order to, so the cool thing is it becomes 1,000 times more dense. You can fit 1,000 times more of your oxidizer into the rocket when you chill it down into liquid oxygen. But of course it's warm. It's down there in Florida. So as the ambient air temperature warms up the liquid oxygen, it does boil off and it becomes a gas again. And so they vent it out, but it's still really cold because the phase change is like it's around a minus 180 degrees Celsius. So the gas coming out of there is still really, really cold. So it comes in contact with the humidity and the water vapor in the air and becomes these little clouds of condensation. So if you were to go and touch this rocket right now, especially in those parts that have the cold, okay, here we go. We're in startup mode. But it'd be so cold your hand would stick to it. So just keep that in mind, that it's extremely cold on the outside. It's about to be extremely hot.
Go for launch.
All right. They're going for it, guys. So we do have
30 seconds.
We do have telemetry, but it might be the wrong telemetry.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
Yes!
And liftoff of Falcon's first East Coast polar launch, Ola, Argentina.
Stage 1 course phenomenal.
We're now 40 seconds in the flight. Falcon 9 has taken off. It's cleared the tower, and we're currently throttling down to prepare for maximum Q. That's the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure. It's at 1 minute 12 seconds.
So we will be putting up the simulated telemetry of the first stage, which will be really
Vehicle
cool
is
because it does
supersonic.
basically go backwards, don't forget. So we'll see that here in a second. Wow, punching through the clouds there.
Vehicle has reached maximum aerodynamic pressure.
You've heard it. We've reached max Q. At this point, the loads in the vehicle become less and less as the atmosphere gets thinner. We're now able to throttle those
Vehicle's
Merlin
clear.
engines back up. And at its maximum power, like right now,
And,
the
getting
vehicle
chill
consumes
started.
more than 700 gallons of fuel per second. All's looking good with our first stage's trajectory. The next couple events, there are 5 events, one after another. First, our main engine cuts off on our first stage. The stages will separate. Our first stage will then flip around to begin its landing attempt. The second stage's Merlin vacuum engine will ignite for second engine start 1. The first stage's boost back burn will start. It's one of 3 burns to help us land. They occur one after another in about 15 seconds.
Here we go, baby.
And this is that first polar orbit. If the clouds, you can see through the clouds here, you'll see some unique views that you haven't seen from Falcon 9 over Florida.
Yeah.
And we have Miko.
Stage separation confirmed.
All right, and here's our simulated telemetry.
And ignition.
Looks like it's a little bit ahead.
All right, all of those events happen successfully one after another. This
Stage
boost
one,
back
boost back
burn, it'll last about 40 seconds.
I love that.
As you
That's
see
so
on the
cool.
left-hand side of the screen, on the right-hand side, you will see our second stage carrying those 3 satellites to orbit. And coming up next in about 20 seconds, that boost back burn will end, and then we'll have our fairing deployment.
Oh, baby. Haven't seen a return to launch set landing in so long. That was a short boost back burn, too. It must be a really
Stage one,
lofty
boost back, shut
trajectory.
down.
Did you say? I thought you said
All right,
4
one
seconds.
of those,
That was longer than
the
4.
first landing burn, the boost back burns has successfully ended. Our 2 fairing halves will now jettison to expose the satellites to space.
All right. There comes the grid fins.
You see the first stage is already beginning to turn around, and you can see the nitrogen from our attitude control system helping guide it back.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Good.
There you see our 2 fairing
Acquisition
halves
signal, Bermuda.
have jettisoned. You can even see them in the background there on our MVAC engine, and you can see them from land too. It'll take us some time to
Looks
get
like our
those
telemetry is
to
wrong.
come back
Sorry,
down. We'll
guys.
keep
I
you
think I
posted on
messed
the
something
update.
up. Yeah, that was the wrong telemetry. Andrew, just to
We are
confirm,
T plus 4 minutes and 13
It is,
seconds into flight. Everything is
stage
looking
1/altitude,
great for tonight's
right?
mission. On the right-hand side of your screen is a view of our second stage, specifically its Merlin vacuum engine. We also call it MVAC engine for short. It's currently in the first of its 2 first and only planned MVAC burn. The first burn should last for about another 4 minutes. On the left-hand side of your screen is a view of our first stage looking downward. It's continuing to fall back towards Earth. The next milestone for the first stage is its first stage entry burn. Falcon 9 needs to execute an entry burn to slow itself down before hitting the dense parts of the atmosphere. Without this second burn, relying on the atmosphere alone to slow Falcon 9 down would put unnecessary strain on the rocket. That entry burn is coming up at T plus 6 minutes and 10
Second stage
seconds.
is following nominal trajectory.
Sorry,
Acquisition
guys, yeah.
signal, South Texas.
You
Our
may have also
telemetry
noticed that
is
we've
definitely
deployed
off.
our 4 hypersonic grid fins.
guys.
Those are the honeycomb-like structures that you see on the left-hand side of your screen. They help to guide the first stage back during descent by moving the center of pressure on the vehicle. Again, those bursts of gas are nitrogen. It's absolutely normal, and those help to orient the rocket during its descent back towards Earth.
Look at it. It's almost going to be flying back into
We're
its
about
exhaust
20
plume.
seconds away from our second burn, the entry burn.
Stage 2 FTS has safed.
Look at that. That's awesome. I've never seen it come this close to its own plume before like that. I love this. Here we go.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And 3 Merlin engines have relit and are currently slowing the first stage down before it hits those dense parts of the atmosphere.
I wish we could show you our telemetry now because it slows down a lot. It slows down more than half on some of these missions.
Second stage on the right-hand side of your screen is continuing to perform as expected.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
All right.
And that is our second burn completed. And as we mentioned earlier, we are going to be attempting to recover this booster back at land on landing zone 1. The first stage has one more burn
FTS
left.
is saved.
That is the landing burn. It begins just before we
Second
touch
stage
down
still
and
following
provides the
nominal
booster with
trajectory.
a soft descent before we land.
They must be right on target. Look at those grid fins aren't even hardly pointing
During
at
this
all.
period, the landing legs will also be deploying. You might be able to catch it right before we touch down. They're stowed at the base of the vehicle and made up of state-of-the-art carbon fiber and aluminum honeycomb.
Stage 1 transonic.
Come on, baby.
You can see the
Oh,
Cape
look at
getting
those
closer and
views.
closer. What a cool view.
Oh, that's
The
awesome.
first stage is passing through the cloud layers right now.
Yes. Thank
Stage
you
1
for
landing
not
burn
hitting the NROL satellite
And
too.
here comes Falcon 9 attempting its 4th landing.
Oh man. Yes. Yes. It's gonna be a bullseye. They make this look too easy.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
Wow. Wow. That is a shot right there.
And you could not ask
Stage
for a
one.
better landing than that. Falcon 9 has landed once again. That is number 4 for this first stage booster and the 58th overall of an orbital class rocket. What a way to start off tonight's mission.
Yes.
The second stage and our primary mission are still continuing and remain healthy. The next milestone for the second stage is second engine cutoff 1, also known as SECO 1, and that is coming up at T plus 10 minutes and 5 seconds.
That might have been one of
During
the cooler
second
ones.
engine cutoff 1, we'll be shutting down the second stage's MVAC engine. And as we approach this period, we'll be listening very closely for 2 callouts. Verification of SECO 1 and then confirmation of a good orbital insertion. Both are going to be critical to ensuring that we deliver all 3 payloads to their intended orbits tonight.
That was I don't know, that was awesome. And that shot, by the way, the launch pad you can see in the background, that is New Glenn's launch pad.
And while
So
we're
that-
waiting for that period, some fun facts. The engine you see on screen can produce over 200,000 pounds of thrust. The second stage is
Started
currently
tunnel
traveling at
rounds.
over 20,000 kilometers an hour. At those speeds, you could travel from Los Angeles to New York in just 12 minutes. Very, very fast.
Yes, please. That was great. That was fantastic.
We're about 20 seconds away from second engine cutoff 1.
Gosh, I love those return to launch site landings. And get ready, here comes SECO.
And we have SECO.
Yep.
And
Wow.
the second stage Merlin vacuum engine has successfully had SECO 1.
Look at that.
Nominal orbit insertion.
And that is the other
Wow.
call out we were waiting to hear on. A good orbital insertion. In
Yes.
just about 3 minutes, we will have the first of our 3 deployments. Until then, we are going to take a short break and be back around the T plus 13-minute mark for the deployment of the SAOCOM-1B satellite.
That was great. I mean, yes, that was seriously a really cool one. I love the return to launch site landings. We get better views from the thing because it doesn't go over the horizon. The booster doesn't have to transmit its signal over the horizon. The plasma is a lot less too on those returns. It's just a lot lower velocity, so it can handle doing that a lot easier. Wow, that was great. Just while we're doing this here, I'm going to throw it up like that. Yeah, someone was asking, yes, indeed, we are doing launch day codes on this shirt today. So if you guys want to help me do what I do, use coupon code launch day, all one word, and you will be able to get 10% off the Everyday Astronaut new logo shirt. It does have a print on the back and everything. These are super cool. So if you guys want to grab one of those, use coupon code LAUNCHDAY, all lowercase, all one word. And while you're at it, you can grab some other cool things, such as the new full flow stage combustion cycle hoodie, remove before flight keychains, the Arcadia Planatia. This is one of my new favorite Future Martian 2.0 shirts. Awesome merchandise for you guys if you guys want to help support what I do. It really makes a big difference for me. So yeah, everydayastronaut.com/shop or shop.everydayastronaut.com. Yep, and do it now. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out with me. So yeah, so we've got a little bit of time here while they're coasting before they deploy the satellites. Let's answer a few more of your questions. Is an excellent farmer outstanding in their field? I don't honestly even know what that means, Dieter, but thank you so much for your super chat. I appreciate that. Is that in reference to me? Am I an excellent farmer? I mean, just because I live in Iowa. I mean, granted, I did spend my summers on my grandparents' farm. But greetings from Argentina. I'm super proud of this achievement. Thanks, Tim, for sharing all your knowledge. Absolutely. You are welcome. Thank you for saying hi. That's very, very generous of you, too. Thank you so much. Let's see. When did I get that New Glenn? So the New Glenn model I got along with the Blue Origin New Shepard model as well. So these two both came in to me from some friends at Blue Origin. And believe it or not, that New Glenn model is way smaller. The New Glenn model is 122-1, while these Falcon Heavies, I think, are 177 or 172-1. So it's in real life, the New Glenn will be almost twice as big as this. Where am I looking? Right? Why is this so hard? There, twice as big as that compared to the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. New Glenn is going to be freaking huge, and we actually could see it in the background of the launch site. Or during that landing sequence. Actually, real quick, I'm gonna rewind it because I want you guys to see this. For some reason, that blue. Oh.
For those of you just joining us, we successfully launched our Falcon 9 rocket from Cape Canaveral on a polar orbit trajectory. We had a successful stage separation, a successful landing, the fourth landing for this booster, and we're waiting the deployment of the SAOCOM-1B satellite. It's just about 10 seconds, 15 seconds away. It's the second and final satellite in this constellation. We first launched its sister satellite, SAOCOM-1A, in the fall of 2018.
All right. Hopefully any second. There we
SAOCOM
go.
separation confirmed.
All right, you've seen it, we heard it. Successful deployment of that SAOCOM-1B satellite. And as a reminder, this satellite and SAOCOM-1A's satellite's goal is to gather soil moisture. It helps increase the productivity and competitiveness of the agriculture sector. It helps us generate risk maps that can help control crop disease. It helps implement better fertilizer systems and provide early flood warnings. These two SAOCOM satellites work together with Italy's Cosmos SkyMed constellation, and they work together by providing up to 225 Earth images per day. But we still do have two satellites left to deploy. We're going to go into another coast phase. This one will last about 45 minutes. We're going to take a break, but we're leaving you with an animation that shows where we are in that coast phase. We'll be back at about T+1 hour for the deployment of the TIVAC 0172 and GNOMES-1 rideshare satellites. We'll see you then.
Man, how am I gonna make it this long without peeing? As always, happy hacking video blog. Thank you so much for saying hi. I really appreciate that. Yeah, let me switch this around here real quick for you guys. So yeah, we got a few more things. Okay, so let me really quick rewind. I want to show you guys something. This is kind of nuts. Actually, I'll just transition right back here again. This is honestly kind of insane. Look at how big. So obviously the Falcon 9 is landing in front of New Glenn's launch pad here in this shot. In front of, by a lot. And look at how much bigger the launch tower, the lightning towers, and the water tower and stuff is for New Glenn. That right there kind of shows you the scale of how big New Glenn's going to be. So when people say, yeah, I'll I'll wake up and care about Blue Origin when let me know when they make it to orbit. When they make it to orbit, it's going to dwarf the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. And this is their first orbital vehicle. So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying like we need to be all like, you're more than, this is obviously a SpaceX stream. You guys know I love SpaceX so much. But I just want to remind people about what is actually happening with Blue Origin and the progress they're making towards going orbital and going orbital in a huge way, like enormous. So just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind that this is almost as big as the Saturn V, almost as big as Starship even. That's what's crazy. Let me get caught up here to real time. So we're not missing anything. Cool. All right, let me transition back out of this. Steve M in our Discord channel says I should take one for the team and I should just pee in my pants. I mean, all options are still on the table. All options are still on the table. From Jesus Christ Pew Pew says, Vamos con from Argentina. So adios or goodbye. Keep up the great work, Tim. For those Argentines out there, keep the chat politics free, guys. There you go. You heard it there first. In general, that's not for all Argentinians. That's just a general rule around here, guys. Please, we are already living in a time where everything is like this huge thing right now. Just when we're here, we are here to get together and celebrate and cheer on spaceflight. And we're coming together to watch awesome things happen from awesome people working really hard. So anytime I'm streaming a rocket launch, please just keep it in mind. You are in my house. My house is Pro Team Space. We're here to be excited about spaceflight and cheer on the people that are doing the really, really hard work out there. So keep your other thoughts about whatever else you want to talk about to yourself. We're here tonight to celebrate an awesome mission and hopefully later tonight, another awesome mission too. So let's see here. Thanks for doing this, Tim. Great channel and questions on Twitter with Elon. Thank you, Adam. And that's awesome. That really means a lot. Yeah, it happens. Oh, people were asking kind of this. I feel like I should be saying this every launch. What is all this stuff? Like people were like, oh, is this a UFO? Hang on, let me switch here again or something like this. So right here, that is a chunk of ice. This is solid oxygen. So right here is an oxygen bleed valve. So when it warms up, it still has to be bled out of the upper stage. So what happens is it bleeds out, but then some of it sticks around because it ends up getting frozen even more into a solid chunk of oxygen. And so these are chunks of oxygen. Things are constantly kind of being pushed away, and bleeding off like that. And they go in every direction. Now, the other thing is here, the camera that we're looking at is basically a wide angle lens. It's like a GoPro angle lens. So things distort on the edges. So you can see how it looks like the plume's kind of going out like this. It looks like it's almost concaved. That's because of the wide angle lens, the fisheye artifacts. So what's going to happen is you'll notice sometimes in some of the shots, what will look like things flying by and like changing direction. It's just most likely almost always flying away from the booster, and its relative velocity is like really. It's like someone just gently tossed a little football. People will be like, "Look, a UFO" or something. It's like, no, that's just a chunk of ice or something that came from the booster. Because don't forget, these things are traveling over 10 times faster than a really fast bullet. Not just any bullet, but a really fast bullet. And so imagine going that fast. Imagine riding on a bullet, seeing another bullet fly by. Like you wouldn't see it, right? You just wouldn't see it. So unless you're traveling at the same speed as the bullet, then maybe you could see another bullet flying around near you, right? But if you're going one way and the other one's going the other way, you're not going to see them at all just because the relative velocities are so crazy. So anything up at this altitude, when you're going 27,000 kilometers an hour, 17,500 miles an hour, whatever, when you're going that fast, even an airplane, even if a full-blown airplane flew overhead or flew like right by you, you'd hardly see it because it's going so fast. You're going by it so fast. Have you ever seen videos of like airplanes, like jetliners, when they kind of are, different altitudes, but kind of flying by each other, how fast they're actually going? Yeah, this is like 20 or 30 times faster than that. It is hard to understand how fast it is. So, let's see. This is from Yuri. Says, I heard you mention shuttle concepts with flyback boosters in a past stream. Is comparing flybacks to propulsive landing something you'd do in a video? Yeah, I think so. I still think flyback concepts are really cool, and I'm kind of sad that it never happened. It seemed to have been a lot easier technology to nail down than propulsive landing, but now that propulsive landing's done and solved, I mean, yeah, they pretty much have it nailed down. So PC says, wearing my normal cap I received as a birthday gift to watch nice launches. Awesome. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you so much, PC. That's awesome. What a great gift. So thank you also to the person that bought it as a gift for you. Jose says, hi, Tim. Thanks for your enthusiasm videos. I'm an Argentinian, and this is a very special launch. Vamos, Argentina. That is awesome. Congrats, guys. Yeah, you're officially in orbit now, my friends. You are officially now in orbit. This is from Tommaso. Says, great videos and go-to place for live streams. Thank you, Tim. You're welcome. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out. Really appreciate it. This is from Dieter with quotes saying, heritage launch vehicles is it's throwing shade is basically if you're calling something a heritage launch vehicle. If it wasn't for heritage launch vehicles, we wouldn't be where we're at today. So, you know, they still get their work done most of the time. Kiwi Chris says, hey Tim, love your work, especially the collab this morning. Yeah, again, it was really fun to hang out with the guys, with everyone at NASA Spaceflight. They are some awesome people. So, yeah. Hey, before I move on here, guys, I am actually going to take a bathroom break. I know, how unprofessional of me, but I'll be right back. I'm going to mute myself and I'll be right back here for you guys. I'm going to leave this up here. I'm going to leave it up in full screen here so you guys can go, so you can see the stuff still and things. I'll be right back. 1 second.
Also signal Peru expected. We're back. Did you guys miss me too much? Hopefully not. We got a beautiful representation of where this mission's at in the meantime. Yeah, so how is everybody? I hope you guys are doing great. You know, like I said, I'm a little bit sad that we didn't end up with oh, I love it. Here comes all the you missed it. Like, no, I didn't miss anything, you silly kids. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Kring, for the great content and live streams. And thank you for tuning in. Let's see here. Andrew, hey, for missions that are so small for Starship, will they still use Falcon? If so, could they upgrade it by creating a Raptor variant? There will be no Raptor engine on a Falcon 9. That will no longer be a Falcon 9. That would no longer be a Falcon 9. Falcon 9 is, first of all, called a Falcon 9 because it has 9 Merlin engines. If you swap that out for 3 or 4 Raptor engines, it's definitely no longer a Falcon 9. It's a total, I mean, everything changes. Your fuel tank changes, your fuselage, your loads, your structures, everything changes. By that point, it is entirely a new vehicle. They also do not want to spend $1 more necessary on developing Falcon 9 anymore. Falcon 9 is making money for them right now. Falcon 9 is fulfilling needs for customers. It's become one of the most reliable and most sought after and booked vehicles at this point. It has plenty of work to do. When Starship starts flying, it will be cheaper than Falcon 9. So what will happen is to fly it, even if it's flying a tiny CubeSat, it'll be cheaper than Falcon 9, even cheaper than Falcon 1, which was a small sat launcher. That's the game-changing fact of Starship. Even though it can carry 150 tons into low Earth orbit compared to, 25 tons when expended for the Falcon 9, or about, 18-ish when being reused, or 16 or whatever it is these days. It's that's the crazy thing about this. This is why this is so game changing. The flights will cost less than like $10 million for an entire Starship. So you can put 150 metric tons into orbit for less than $10 million. That is simply unheard of. And that still would be one of the cheapest rides. Think about it, the Electron costs about $5 million. And if they might even end up being cheaper than the Electron. We don't really know until it's proven out and working. But, they could charge, that's the crazy thing, is they could keep charging 40, 50 grand or 40 or $50 million and just make profit on that, right? Because they don't have any competition in that space. They can fly literally any payload that they want. And so eventually, so we even saw this with the Falcon 9. The Falcon 9 Orbcomm 2, for instance, was originally slated to fly on a Falcon 1. They ended up flying it on Falcon 9 because it was cheaper to do so than flying a Falcon 1 at the end of the day. So, I think they will absolutely end up doing some of that. Driving with Nico, I don't think we'll ever see 2 simultaneous rocket launches with Falcon 9. I just don't think that's... I don't know. Although, I don't know if it's possible or what the range considerations would be like for that. Although, the question, honestly, for me at this point is, if they're doing Starlink missions often, there is a sunk cost and range and considerations and things like that. I wonder if they could actually do 2 Starlink missions at the exact same time, just so they don't even have to worry about it. But, man, that'd be interesting because you could actually save some money launching 2 at the same time. I don't think we'll see that, but maybe someday when spaceflight's more and more common, maybe into the Starship era, in the next 10, 15 years, we might be seeing multiple launches at the exact same time, which would be nuts. Miles Miller from a fellow Iowan, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, Miles. That's very nice. Let's see here. Cow Two Face wants to know, did they do a static fire? Did they hold on the rocket and test fire it for this mission? No, they did not static fire this. This would be the second mission they've flown that did not static fire, if I recall correctly. Is that right? Is that correct? Oh, that's awesome. That shot from the landed booster looks really cool. Yeah. Yes. No, not my Mars fun. Stop. I don't want to go to Mars. Even though I do have travel posters of Mars up in my studio, but I don't want to go to Mars. Don't make me go to Mars. Please. Oh, it's not the greatest idea. It should be another funny recovery ship name. That is a pretty good one. Does it happen to be from the series at all, or is that just something that someone made up? Because I like that too. That's good. Arvin says another Norwegian to help you get to Mars. Stop trying to send me to Mars, guys. I don't want to go to Mars. I like it here. There's other people. We'll send someone else to Mars. Send someone else who doesn't want to go to Mars. Manny says, would you mind saying hi to my 6 and 4-year-olds, Landon and Sophia? Also, where do you get your rocket models from? Well, first off, hello to Landon and Sophia. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for learning and being excited about rockets launching. I think it's super exciting. I'm glad you guys think it's exciting. You must be pretty cool 6 and 4-year-olds for watching along with Manny. That is awesome. Any families out there, it really means a lot to me when I know that there's families watching together and the next generation's learning and getting excited about spaceflight. You guys, that is super cool. But the rocket models are a smorgasbord. The Falcon 9s are from Ollie Braun, buzzspacemodels.com. The Blue Origin stuff is from Blue Origin. The Rocket Lab Electron is from Rocket Lab, and all the ULA rockets are from ULA. So each from their respective people. So yeah. Let's see. Hello from Maloa from Brazil. Let's talk about Starship. When do you think we will see the complete super heavy booster? Define complete. Orbitally complete, or like, so I'll go through what I think we'll see. I think we will see a fully stacked, like full height Starship booster in time for the presentation. I think Elon will want that. I think Elon will want to do the presentation this year in front of a super heavy booster, just to flex, just to be like, look how big our rocket's going to be. The whole super heavy is is basically as tall. Just the Super Heavy booster itself is as tall as the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy boosters. It is the whole thing, the entire, not the boosters, the entire thing. So it's really tall. It's going to be like almost 70 meters tall. Massive, massive thing. I think he's going to want to have a crowd sitting underneath that and showing off, being like, yeah. So that's when I think we'll see the full thing stacked. And then Elon was claiming that he thinks they could hop before that presentation in early October. Unless it's October 31st of this year, I don't think there's a chance at all. If it's in the beginning of October, no way. Maybe by the end, but I'd be happy if we see a full stack Super Heavy out of the pad this year. That'd be awesome. Then as far as an orbital Super Heavy, they have a lot of things to prove out. They have to fly. They have to nail that belly flop maneuver. I'll still be shocked if we see a full-sized orbital class Super Heavy on the pad, ready to fly, with totally ready to go in 2021. That would be still surprising to me. That would still be surprising to me. That's awesome. Space Ace from Idaho. Yeah, farmers can be smart. Absolutely. My dad was an engineer for John Deere tractors. Still proud of that. Do you think that is likely to be operational by 2022 for the scheduled cargo missions to fulfill to our fluffy round red neighbor? So, a single orbital launch of Starship is a lot easier than getting off to Mars, because in order to get to Mars, they not only have to have a Starship and a Super Heavy, they have to have multiple tankers, because they have to refuel the Starship prototypes, or the Starship up in orbit in order to get it off to Mars. So just in order, they have to prove out the refueling process and all that stuff. I just honestly, man, I don't know. I would be shocked if they send Starship to Mars in 2022. I would expect 2024 would be more reasonable. Yeah. Lots of gratitude to Tim, as his videos are getting me through my journey of sobriety. Awesome. Ohio recovers. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you, Tim. Paul, hey, congrats, man. Stick with it. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to be excited about, and hopefully that helps you, can help you get to that next stage of your life. We're excited. Good work. Everyone say, Paul, great work. We're all cheering for you, my friend. That's awesome. And thank you for sharing too. All right, Christina. Hey, Tim, the old flight suit is what got me to sub to your channel. Oh, no. Would you have subbed to my channel if I wasn't wearing a flight suit? That's the question. Maybe my logic is not correct. Maybe my logic is flawed, because apparently people did subscribe to me for my spacesuit. Great. Thank you, Christina. And Tekadin, when will future rocket scientist toddler shirts be 4T in 4T black be available? My 4-year-old is freaking out at me right now to get it. Very soon. That is literally being stocked up. As we're working on a massive shop flip, like totally redoing the whole shop. So a lot of new things. We're gonna have new mugs and new grid fin coasters. Like so many new things. Your guys' heads are gonna spin. So yep. So there'll be toddler tees and also back to we'll have kids tees, toddler tees, and the infant onesies and stuff like that too. So we'll have a lot of stuff coming your way. All right. This is from Marcy, U.S. Marine here. Love your content and SpaceX, Tim. When will I be able to download 27 Merlins on iTunes? Guess what? It has been, the first 2 songs have officially been mastered. Actually, by the people we're listening to right now. Well, it's not the best time to listen to it, but that's Test Shot Starfish. It actually got mixed and mastered by the engineer that helps them with their stuff. So, yep, I will have music going online here, new music going online before the end of the year for sure. We're making good progress on it. Renau, how's it going? I hope you're having a great great day, Tim. Go Falcon. Great shot going through the clouds. That was seriously awesome. That was an awesome shot. So thank you very much, Renau. Thanks for always being around. Brooke says, hello from New Zealand. My 3-year-old loves your videos. Well, thank you, Brooke. And hello to Brooke's 3-year-old. I really appreciate you guys watching together. Let's see. From D.A. Gordon, my son finds rockets landing normal. I was 1 when STS-1 launched. Well, hey. I mean, in a sense, rockets landing was normal for a little tiny bit, well, not a little tiny bit, for 30 years. The orbiter, of course, would land. But this new era of reusability, is definitely something to be amazed by. So, yeah, it's pretty bonkers to see this stuff happening at this pace right now. So just think about 5 years ago. Let's see, we're coming up on we're coming up on the 5-year anniversary of the Falcon 9 landing. So yeah, that's something to think about. Before that, no Falcon 9 had landed, and now we're at, what do they say, like almost 60 or whatever. All right, this is from Parker. Guys, if Tim goes to Mars, these live streams might start to have some latency problems. It was really cool to hear you on NASA Spaceflight today. I've started live streaming both channels, but that was a lot easier to listen. That's awesome. I like that. I like that people are pulling up multiple devices, getting their phones, their iPads, their TVs, their computers out, and watching all the Starship coverage with all the different, with NASA Spaceflight, with Lab Padre, and with me when we can. Oh, thank you very much, D.A. Gordon. I appreciate that. All right, let's yeah, I was surprised by this too, Renau. I was honestly shocked that they would do an RTLS with the NROL satellite right there down the street. That was pretty bonkers. Matthew Duggar, yes, agreed. Thank you to all the people at SpaceX, all the hard workers, the engineers and the scientists that make all this stuff possible, because they just make it look so easy and fun. So, yeah. Let's see. So AllNet Tony, why so long since RTB returned to base, or RTLF, or wait, launch site? RTLS is what we say. Return to launch site. They only are possible with low Earth orbit missions and ones that are not pushing the booster to the limit. So the Starlink missions are low Earth orbit, but they are just absolutely using up every bit of energy out of that booster. And that's why they ended up they launch it down range. They would lose substantially. They'd probably have to take 20 or 30 Starlink satellites off of those launches in order to return it to launch site landing, in order to have the margins to be able to do that. So the last time we saw it was for CRS. This has just been that CRS 20 or 21 or whatever it was. CRS 20, yeah. That's the last time that there was a return to launch site landing. So yeah, I remember that. I had to come home for a funeral, unfortunately, for that. John wants to know, why did this mission not launch out of Vandenberg? I'm guessing it was just cheaper and logistically easier to launch out of Kennedy Space Center than Vandenberg. They could do it. I think they're just excited about doing a polar mission there too. Pretty cool, honestly. So I don't know exactly why not Vandenberg, but I know that it's more like why would they, so now with reusing boosters, they most of them are just staying out on the Cape, right? So they could just use a refurbished booster. No big deal. Which rocket is the quickest off the pad? That's a good question. I mean, you'd have to put a few more qualifiers there, like orbital rocket, because, model rockets take off really fast. So some of the rockets that do scream off the pad are, what's the Taurus rockets and the Minotaur, or whatever, like those solid rocket boosters. Those things just scream off the pad. It is nuts. The Ariane 5 with its massive solid rocket boosters gets off the pad pretty quick too. Yeah. It's Snoopy. I mean, tomato, but Dwayne Johnson. I like him as a human. He's awesome. Peter Miss Prime. I just tuned in, so I hope this is only the first of the 2 back-to-back launches. So here's the deal. It is, this is the first of 2 back-to-back-ish for today. There's supposed to be 4 basically. So we had a scrub earlier today with the Starlink launch, then the Starship serial number 6 ended up being scrubbed twice. And then this is the first successful one today to actually be able to go off today. But then tonight, hopefully we're seeing Rocket Lab launch in just about 3 hours or so. So it's coming up. I'll have to take a break and get some dinner here soon. This is from K Fly. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. An excellent farmer isn't only outsourcing in his field, but also outstanding in his field. Aha. Thank you. I've never heard that. This is awesome. Thank you so much, N-Scale Train Boy. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys just for all the positivity. Oh, that's awesome. Now I'm learning. I'm learning more farming things thanks to you guys. That is awesome. I'm going to try to get through some of these because I've seen some really insanely like this, guys. Holy cow. I better just get to some of these. Jeez, guys. Thank you for the awesome enthusiasm bringing space down to Earth for everyday people. Well, thank you so much, MMC Jeeper. That is really nice of you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. You guys are crazy. I love it's way too nice. It's tough though, right? I can't wait to see New Glenn, but it's kind of like sports. The Broncos will always be my favorite, but I still even cheer when some Raider makes a one-handed touchdown catch. See, there you go. There you go. We got to fight that tribalism. We got to be excited when awesome things happen, period. When good, awesome things happen. Joseph, thanks for your channel and feeding our passion for space. Well, thank you so much, Joseph. That means a lot. Again, really, really too generous. Thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate that. I also saw another really big super chat go through just now. Oh, here we go. Jeez. One Canadian girl. Thank you. Thank you so much. Jeez. First off, so one, keep repeating all those terms. People learn by repetition. Yes, I agree. I know I do. 2, I'll happily take your seat to Mars. And 3, I'm sad I missed the orange spacesuit episodes of your life. Sounds hilarious. Well, they're still on YouTube. If you look up older videos, you'll definitely see me in a spacesuit way too often. Old live streams even of me in a spacesuit way too often. I used to do, and someday I want to do it again. I'm going to make you guys like it because not everyone loved it, but I used to do this thing called Today-ish in Spaceflight History where we'd recreate historical spaceflight missions in Kerbal Space Program. And I'd bring a friend with me. His name's Jacob, or we call him, he had so many names. He had Uncle Dad and Jacob EQ. We'd bring him on set and he would end up asking questions because he knows nothing about spaceflight. And he'd just sit and watch and ask questions. And I thought it was really fun. He was a former professional pole vaulter, just the funniest guy. But I really, really, really like those. I probably want to do those again someday once it's safe to just have someone in the same room. Although he is now healthy. He's probably immune. So we could probably be in the same room together. Maybe I'll do that again someday. I do miss that. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, you can find plenty of videos and stuff of me in a spacesuit, but also on Instagram. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, look it up. Go back into the old ones. Yeah. Oh yeah, Jacob was a full-blown professional pole vaulter. He was legit too. At one point, he was #1 in the United States of America. He was awesome. Big sponsors. Okay, let me try and get back to your guys' questions here. Justin, what was this? So we talked about the second stage venting already. Liquid oxygen, it just boils off and ends up half the time turning into a solid chunk of oxygen. So pretty pretty massive, pretty awesome. Tom, size doesn't matter. Come on, Tim. You're right. Size does not matter, but it is definitely, it is really, really, really fun to see massive bits of hardware and hugely capable rockets all being prepared and ready to go. So, yeah. Who sets the standard for the mount of the satellites to the second stage? SpaceX or the customer? So SpaceX will have a payload adapter or payload guide, and it'll tell them like how to, what the standard is to basically mount the satellites. So, yeah, there's a payload adapter, and they have to kind of say, here's what you have to do. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but yeah. Rocky, only into space stuff since the start of lockdown. Thanks to you, Tim, but it was the best Falcon 9 landing I've seen yet. Thanks for always inspiring us. Honestly, that was really, really cool. I absolutely agree. That was an awesome one. All right. How long does the Falcon 9's second stage stay in orbit? Does SpaceX recover anything from the second stage? No. So for a low Earth orbit mission like this, once it lets go of all the satellites, it will intentionally deorbit itself and end up re-entering somewhere, I think in the Indian Ocean most of the time, but although I don't know for this mission because it's in, yeah, probably will still be in the Indian Ocean. They'll probably deorbit on the next orbit. They'd probably start to deorbit almost right around here and start to re-enter and burn up intentionally. There is an exclusion zone there because they don't want to leave any space debris. I have an older video, something I probably need to redo soon, about why doesn't SpaceX recover second stages, and could they with the Falcon 9? The short answer is no. With the Falcon 9, they couldn't. It would take too much, again, like that whole, they'd basically be redesigning a rocket. It takes, in order to maintain the capability that it has now, it'd have to be a lot bigger rocket. So that's what they're doing right now. They're making a bigger rocket. They're making Starship. It'll make everything Falcon 9 completely obsolete. So, yeah. I'm hi from Australia. Rocket is going over my merch from your store in delivery. Wait, Rocket is going over my merch from your store in delivery. Oh, that is awesome. That's cool that my merch is on the way to your place in Australia. That's crazy. All around the world. That's nuts. Thank you so much for shopping around. And yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you for the membership, Abby. Mariano says, cheers from Argentina and thanks for all your hard work. Hashtag Team Space. Thank you so much, Mariano. Ruan says, thanks for all your enthusiasm for watching from the Netherlands. Landing. Yeah, that was a goosebump inducing landing. It just was gorgeous. Yeah. Alan Shepard, Freedom 7. It's not going to happen to me. I can just get up and go to the bathroom. Trey Gurga, watching my first launch from my dorm room at MIT to study aerospace engineering. Thank you for showing me the awesomeness of these rockets. That is awesome, Trey. Do some great work for us and go kick some butt out there in college. Stay safe because colleges are, it's hard to stay socially distant right now at a college dorm room, I'm sure, or any kind of college campus. I was having a crazy outbreak right now. It's not very cool. But yeah, that's awesome. We need more people like you doing awesome things. So please keep it up. Intelligent Eating says, I'm the guy who replied Control-Delete to your what happens if Neuralink needs to be reset. Love what you do. Your passion for space is like space. Wait, your passion for space is like 2 Elons. I don't exactly know what the end of that means, but thank you very much, Intelligent Eating. I really appreciate that. Yay! That's awesome. Super cleary photo. Thank you for watching again with your 5-year-old. That is super cool. Just click live at the bottom to catch up. Is there a... Really? You can just click that? Huh. I'm going to try it. I've never done that before. Who knew? Thank you, the internet, for teaching me all of the things in life. Oh, that's awesome. V-Lord, unfortunately, no. I used to kind of have that happen, and I just end up with like piles of things that I don't know what to do with half the time. So yeah, sorry. Boris, thank you so much. Welcome to our new members, Paul S. and Eric S. Appreciate that, guys. Ryan Bradley Music. How does SpaceX decide to land on a drone ship or at the launch site? I already have a video about that. It basically is depending on how far away, like what orbit it's going to and how heavy the payload is. So you basically have to take your payload. Where is it going? So let's say something that's 10,000 kilograms. How much work can the upper stage do to get it to where it's going, right? If it's only going to low Earth orbit, the upper stage can do a lot of the work. So therefore, the booster doesn't need to do as much work, so there might be enough margin to return it back to land. Now, maybe say that is having to go out to medium Earth orbit or a higher orbit. The upper stage won't be able to do that unless the first stage puts a little bit more work in. So I have a video all about that. It's older. Talks about Giraffestronauts. Don't be too confused. But there you go. For any doubters, I work in a manufacturing company that does contracting work for Blue Origin. And believe me when I say they're not playing around. Yes, I don't get how people don't understand this yet. I know that they haven't launched anything orbitally. That doesn't mean they're not about to launch. They're working on it. Like, I don't get why people are like, they just, like, they didn't, it's not like they said in 2012 they're going to orbit and it's taken them 11 years, or 10 years or whatever, 9 years. Really, this is their first attempt at an orbital rocket. They had to build a lot of infrastructure and it is huge. All right. So Jake, this was a observational satellite in sun synchronous orbit that can look at crops and fields and stuff. And just, this is the second one of this constellation. So yeah, we have that covered in the pre-launch preview. We do have that in the description of the videos too, if you need to know all about this. So yeah. Oh, I got way behind on Discord for some reason. All right. Tim, before SAOCOM-1B launched, there was 3 rockets at the Cape on different pads, SAOCOM, Starlink, and ULA. Yes, that is correct. There were 3 rockets on the... I want pictures of that. That would be awesome. I wonder if there are any pictures of all 3 rockets out on the pad, because I bet it's been a while before since there's been 3 rockets all out on the pad at the same time. Man, yeah. Petromus Prime, why haven't SpaceX created a smaller proof of concept of Starship for the Falcon 9? I think it's because at this point, like, if they can prove it out cheaply with the materials they're using right now with stainless steel and do it at scale, why prove it on a smaller level at all? You know, why have to add infrastructure out to, say, 39A or Slick 40 on one of their other pads to add methane to just the upper stage? What engine are you going to use to do that? You know, it's not as easy. It's probably more work that would not negate them anything in the long run, hardly, besides validating maybe a few concepts. But really, the idea is, like, really right now what they're doing is already a smaller proof of concept for Starship. The 9-meter concept of Starship is the smallest iteration of Starship. So just keep that in mind. So it's just, yeah, trying to make the best use of what they're developing. And, you know, why go small when you can go big? Congrats to SpaceX on a spectacular number 100. Yes. Good call, Parker, and thank you. Vamos Argentina, this one for Caro at UNI, or at Uni. Sorry, I say UNI because actually University of Northern Iowa I live right by that. And yeah, so whenever I see UNI, I think like University of Northern Iowa, but I forget that a lot of people say uni as in like university. Crazy. I am probably the minority there, I'm sure. Of course, Paul, it's COVID season. Everyone asking, yes. Guys, it's just what you have to do. And not even because it's COVID season, just period. Michael, hey Tim, I heard ISS will be retired someday around 2024. So quick question, will the ISS be returned to Earth in the future? And does SpaceX have any ideas to build their own space station? So Michael, good question, thank you. So the ISS, when it retires, and it'll take probably only anywhere from like a year or two to deorbit completely. So I don't know if they'll have to deorbit it to make sure it doesn't deorbit. They might deorbit it, honestly, so that it doesn't just fall willy-nilly wherever it ends up falling, because I'm sure not all of it would break apart. So SpaceX would basically, the first Starship mission will basically already be a space station. I mean, Starship in one launch has enough volume to basically be every space station launched together ever, pretty much. So close in pressurized volume. So I don't think they have any direct means or wants to make a full-blown space station, but Starship's so big that you don't really need them anymore, honestly, for now. Greg, once Blue Origin is operational, will astronauts in the ISS be able to get free 2-day delivery on Amazon orders if they are Prime members? That would be awesome. That would be awesome. It's $5 for the Stay on Earth Fund. There we go, Leaf. Thank you. Thank you very much, Leaf. But Patrick, you're on team... Nuh-uh, my friend. William, I just realized you have 2 different color eyes. Very cool. Anyway, here's for your trip to the moon. Now, the moon, maybe. Yes, and for those of you that don't always realize this, yes, I do have heterochromia. Look in my older videos. I do have different colored eyes. I still get that question all the time. Like, it's funny because people are like, do you have different color? Or no, sometimes in person I'll get, did you know your eyes are different colors? And it's like, yes, I know that I'm heterochromatic. Yeah, but William, thank you for working on a moon trip, which I would maybe do a moon trip. Oh no, here it comes. Here it comes. Jeez, you guys. Oh, jeez. 5-star hotel open. Now, see, I would stay on a 5-star hotel on Mars, taking like a cruise ship, luxurious cruise ship with like floating swimming pools and stuff to Mars. Yeah, I would do that, but I'm not going to just go to Mars and freeze and sleep in a desert, basically. David, your reverse psychology is Jedi strong. Here's some for the Mars fund. Stop. But yeah, I mean, stop, guys. Guys, don't try to get me to Mars. Actually, I generally don't want, like, I won't go to Mars. I'd spend that money going to space, though, someday, even though I didn't want to use it to do that. So maybe someday my thoughts will change. How much more Delta V is required to place a payload like this into a polar orbit than equatorial? So you gain, at best, I think you gain like 3 or 5% from a totally equatorial orbit on the equator. But so you negate 3 to 5% ish. So not like double It's not twice as hard. It's about 5% harder than an equatorial orbit, probably. Up to. I don't know the exact numbers, but maybe someone does. Yeah. Yeah, all the Norwegians really want me on Mars. Is this some weird conspiracy? Who would you say is your favorite organization out of all the launches that you cover on your channel? Also, thanks for having an awesome channel. So, if it's not obvious, I would definitely say that one of my favorites, mostly the reason that I love SpaceX, and I think that a lot of us love SpaceX, is because they're working so fast and they're doing so much that it's just like a full-time job just to keep up with what they're doing, right? I think that's what one of the exciting things and the appealing things is of SpaceX. It just makes other programs and other companies sometimes look stagnant, even though they're still probably moving along perfectly fine and at a reasonable pace. But because SpaceX is just constantly working on stuff, it's hard to not get excited about that. And it keeps me plenty busy. It keeps all of us plenty busy. So yeah, it's hard not to be really excited, but we're seeing something similar with that with Rocket Lab. I feel like Rocket Lab is also, working really hard, and they're iterating honestly really, really, really fast too. So, yeah, I think that's just exciting. It's just seeing people push so hard. Yeah, this is great. Here's for my astronaut diaper for live stream. That's not a bad idea. I should probably get some mags, some maximum absorbency garments. That's awesome. Okay. Let's see. From Fluffstar. Hey, from Aberdeen. Did you see aliens or whatever at T+4 minutes? Say hi to Oscar. Hi, Oscar. We're going to look at T+4 minutes. I guarantee it's ice. 99% of the time when people say, did you see something? It's just chunks of ice. Let's take a look here. Yep, ice. This happens all the time, actually. There is a ring of ice that'll fall out from a port. Yep, there you go. Ice. Hopefully you guys could see that. Hopefully my noggin wasn't blocking it for you guys. Let's make sure. Yeah, it was fine. Yep, there you go. That's almost every mission. You'll see that on the booster, actually. I'm going to use your little trick. Yay. All right. What is a belly flop maneuver? So I have a video about that. It's called Why SpaceX's Starship Will Fall Like a Skydiver and Not Fly Like a Space Shuttle. Take a look at that. It's basically the Starship, instead of flying like you'd think of an airplane, is actually going to come in belly first. So we're going to use the entire broad side of the vehicle. Think of this water bottle like a, coming in like this. Say the wind stream, you're going sideways really fast. So instead of a plane flying like, it's going to fly. I should probably close the lid when I do that. Airplane like this, flying maybe at a little bit of an angle attack, depending on a lot of different variables. Starship's going to fly like this, basically, almost vertical. And it does that so it can adjust its drag using those big air brakes. I have two videos, basically, like why does Starship have two fins and why Starship will fall like a skydiver and not fly. So watch those two videos. I promise we'll go way more into it and way better than me using a water bottle and some hands and some sound effects that sounded like an airplane or something. This is from Saria Jones. My boyfriend Larry turned me onto your videos. He says this $5 is for your Mars adventure. Thanks for the entertainment. Love your streams. Well, thank you, Saria and Larry. I appreciate you guys.
If you're just joining us, we're wrapping up our coast phase and close to the end of today's mission, which launched this evening at 7:18 p.m. Eastern. We then had successful lighting and shutdown of our second stage Merlin vacuum engine, then a successful deployment of the SAOCOM-1B satellite for Argentina's National Space Program. Coming up, we have the deployment of our two rideshare satellites. First up is the GNOMES-1 satellite for Planet IQ that occurs at T+1 hour, 1 minute and 37 seconds, followed shortly after by the TIVAC 0172 satellite. For the GNOMES-1 satellite, due to the placement of our cameras, it's not likely that we'll have visual confirmation of the GNOMES-1 deployment, so we'll be listening in on the communication channels for that. And a little bit more about Planet IQ. They design, build, launch, and operate one of the most advanced constellation of radio occultation weather forecasting satellites. Radio occultation is a technology that measures and analyzes the signals generated by GPS satellites to determine weather data such as pressure, temperature, and water vapor. This data is used in weather forecast models to greatly improve the accuracy and extend the range of weather predictions. And here's a fun fact about Planet IQ's microsatellite. It's about the size of a carry-on bag, weighing about 39 kilograms or 86 pounds.
Dang, that's tiny.
We're a few seconds out from the GNOMES-1 payload deploy.
Marty, by the way, we'll get to your question here afterwards. I'm not skipping it, my friend.
Planet IQ separation confirmed.
And we did get confirmation that the GNOMES-1 satellite did successfully separate. We're now waiting on our final deployment today, and that is of the Tyvak 0172 satellite. And for this one, we should be able to see the deployment.
Yeah, that's the one right there. And yes, I have.
Just about 15 to 20 seconds out.
Petromus Prime.
Tyvak separation confirmed.
Come on, baby.
And we did get confirmation of the Tyvak 0172 satellite separation. That is our last payload for tonight. It's been an exciting evening. We saw a successful liftoff from our Cape Canaveral Air Force Station launch pad at 7:18 p.m. Eastern, the first polar orbit launch for SpaceX at the Cape, and the first originating from Florida in decades. From there, a successful stage separation, a land landing of our first stage back at Landing Zone 1, which marks, and this is a small correction, the 59th landing of an orbital class rocket, not the 58th. And finally, the deployment of the SAOCOM-1B satellite for the Argentinian Space Agency, along with our 2 rideshare customers. With that said, we will be bringing our webcast to an end.
But before we go, we'd like to thank our customer Konai for tonight's mission and their great support, as well as rideshare customer Planet IQ. We'd also like to thank the United States Air Force for range support, as well as the Federal Aviation Administration for the licensing of today's mission. Please continue to follow us on SpaceX.com for future missions and milestones, as well as our Twitter and Instagram profiles. And if you're as excited by what you've seen tonight as we are, and you want to join our team, please visit SpaceX.com/careers to learn more about working with us at SpaceX. And finally, thank you to you, all of our viewers, for your support and for tuning in. We hope you have a great night.
All right. There we are, my friends. So I'm going to get through just a few more of these here real quick, and then I actually gotta close up shop here so that I can get ready for Rocket Lab tonight too, because yeah, it's going to be a very, very, very busy night for me. So let me get rid of this overlay here quick. And yeah, hang on. Doing things a little differently. We're now, I would maybe someday do a suborbital flight. I didn't used to think I would, but yeah, thank you so much. Let's see, what else do we have? I'm trying to just get to a couple more of these. Thank you guys so much. Oh, that's funny. It went right to me. Okay, so let's see. I saw a few more just that I really want, some good questions that I wanted to, I don't think they're going to stack the entire vehicle in the high bay. They'll do that out of the pad with a crane. Just like their old renders. There was a render, you know, the video that they launched or the release last year of basically showing the booster on the pad, launching the Starship on top of it and integrating it there on the pad. I think that's what they'll eventually do. So, good question. Do I think from Bumbledine, do you think Neuralink could be the next gen vehicle for space travel? No, Neuralink's just literally a brain implant, so I don't think it's going to work very well as a way to travel. It could make you think you're traveling through space. It could literally trick your brain into thinking you're traveling to space, but I don't think it's going to ever be any kind of a vehicle. So this is from AllNet. This is about, yeah, no, they've done several other return to launch site landings since that one. That was CRS 18. They did CRS 19 and CRS 20. And then some Falcon Heavy missions too. They've done 2 since last year, since CRS 18 failed. failed landing attempt. So no, definitely didn't have anything to do with that. So, yeah, guys, I probably am going to get out of here because otherwise I won't have any time to do anything else. So, I'm sorry if I didn't get to some of your guys' super chats and stuff, but I really appreciate all of you guys being here so much. People not noticing that I had different colored eyes. That is funny. Oh, that is awesome. But all right, guys, that is going to do it for me. Thank you so much for all your generous donations. I'll be back already in less than 3 hours. In about 2 hours, I will be live again. So if you miss me too much, don't, because I'll be literally right back. So again, if you guys want to take 10% off of this shirt, basically it's like the new logo t-shirt. It is 10% off today by using coupon code LAUNCHDAY, all one word, lowercase. But while you're at it, you can grab a bunch of other cool stuff while you're in the store at shop.everydayastronaut.com. That helps me continue to do what I do and keep trying to get more equipment better upgraded so we can provide the best coverage for you guys as we physically can. So thank you guys so much for everything you guys do and just for hanging out with me. It honestly means the world to me. So I'll be right back in literally 2 hours. We got some stuff to reset here. So thank you guys so much. And I'm sorry if I missed your super chat, but we got to keep things rolling here. So thank you guys. That's going to do it for me. I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, bringing space down to Earth for everyday people. Goodbye, everybody.